Hello and welcome back to Redirecting. I wanted to talk a little bit about a post that I shared on Facebook, and it goes as follows. It says, "There is a new push to untell our story by so-called black people. Many so-called black people are claiming that the slave trade never happened, so now that erases so much of our history, including the Bible. In their attempts to be deep, they are leading many astray and wiping away the truth while confusing the younger generations." Now, this is a thought that came to my mind because I see a lot of our people are starting to say that slavery and this and that and that and this happened in reverse. And it's like, what the heck are you talking about? You see, in their attempts to sound deep, they are trying to erase what actually happened. And many are saying that it never happened to begin with, that there was no slave trade, that we've been lied to, you see. So when you start saying that and pushing narratives that you heard somebody say something that you thought was deep, and so now you're helping to forward that misinformation, you are essentially wiping away history, and you are literally exonerating those who did enslave us. You're making them say, "Oh, here's a new narrative we can push. It never happened." Now, there's already a push by them to downplay it, to basically say that it wasn't as bad as what we thought it was. But now here you go saying it never happened. And so this makes me think about the fact that the scripture says that in the last days, many false doctrines are going to be going backward and forward, and people are going to be tossed to and fro with these false doctrines. And to see that it is our people pushing a lot of these narratives is very disturbing indeed. We think that if we can wipe away the legacy of slavery in our minds, that it'll make things not so bad to us. So we could say, "Oh, we were kings and queens and we were this and we were that." Well, newsflash, everybody wasn't a king and a queen. That's literally impossible. Okay? You didn't have simultaneously within one kingdom thousands of queens and thousands of kings all ruling one nation. You had people who were just citizens. Okay, so when you're saying we were kings and queens because you don't want to think about slavery and you want to put us up on a pedestal like this, you're fooling your own self, you're tricking your own mind. And in the process, you are miseducating our people, our young people. They need to know the truth about history. They need to understand what took place, why it took place. They need to understand that the Bible is our history book, and it is not telling lies about the state of our people, because even beyond slavery, a lot of what the Bible recorded as biblical prophecy is unfolding right before our eyes. You can't explain it all away, so why try to insert all of these lies to make your own mind feel good? Because that's essentially what's happening. In the process, you are creating spiritual casualties, because now you have people who are just abandoning everything. Whether it's the truth or not, they are abandoning it because you've presented them with a falsehood. A falsehood that could essentially lead to their spiritual demise. And so we've got to be very careful what we allow ourselves to hear and entertain. Some things, once you hear them, you can't unhear them. And it's unfortunate that some of our own people are the ones who are passing around these doctrines. Even doctrines of men are being passed around from these other nations and being passed off as authentic. And it's confusing a lot of people. I, for one, don't want to be confused. We've had enough confusion, and now here we are, our own people, adding to that confusion. You ought to be ashamed of yourself if you haven't even thought this out. You're just pushing that information out there, because that is a very important piece of history. That if you try to unravel that and you push a narrative that is not true, we're not talking about somebody telling us that the first president was black or white. Who cares about that? Okay? To unravel that doesn't make any difference. But when you start saying that slavery never existed, you are just wiping away the Bible. You're wiping away our history, things that truly happened, things that are affecting us to this day. You're saying that they never happened. And you're trying to literally exonerate those who did these things to us. So be vigilant, family. Be careful what you hear, because a lot of the people who are pushing these narratives are someone who heard it from somebody else. And because they don't want to agree with the reality of who we are and what we are and where we come from, they are helping to spread the madness. Okay, family. That is all on this particular subject. With that, I will say shalom. Be sure to ring the bell to be notified of new uploads on this channel, and also comment, share, like, and subscribe.